Out of all the women in here tonight, how many of you have experienced childbirth? Now, when you're going into this childbirth process, did you think of any methods of how you wanted to go about it? Anybody? Some people do not take that into consideration. Well, we can all agree that childbirth is a beautiful thing. 85% of women are connected to an IV line during childbirth. IV lines can be used to administer opiates such as fentanyl to alleviate pain during the childbirth process. 76% of mothers are using epidurals for their labor. Those are both significantly high percentages. A researcher by the name of Bremner and his colleagues conducted a study that found that babies who are born to mothers who use pain intervention methods face risks such as neonatal hypotony, in other words, floppy baby syndrome, which is where they have low muscle tone. They also are at a risk for seizures, and have a delayed breastfeeding impairment. Using pain medications during birth is not only detrimental to the baby, but it disrupts the mother's instinctive laboring tactics, thus hindering the labor process. A known method of pain intervention in labor is fentanyl. Fentanyl is a drug that is a synthetic opiate painkiller that is about 50 to 100 times more potent than morphine. Now, one would ask, why would you use this in a labor birth, bringing a child into this world? Well, a researcher by the name of Delish and his colleagues found that fentanyl is fast acting, however, it does not last long. A question that may arise is, what can an opiate do to a child during the labor process if it was to cross the placenta? Well, if this pain medication reached the baby, it can cause depression in the central nervous system, depression in the respiratory system, a decreased ability for the baby to control its body temperature, and an impaired early breastfeeding. When the women have given birth to their babies, the first 3 days are very critical for breastfeeding. During these 3 days is when the baby gets colostrum. Colostrum is a special milk that the mother creates that gives the babies the antibodies it needs to fight off all types of infections. Basically, an immune system booster. Now, if you use fentanyl in the birth and the baby has impaired breastfeeding, then how can they get the necessities they need to carry on with life's troubles? Giving birth is said to be one of the most painful experiences a mother can have. Also, we have to acknowledge the fact that every woman's pain tolerance is different. The most common method of pain alleviation is epidurals. Epidurals are pain blockers that could ultimately, if done correctly, numb the body of the mother. This is one of the worst things you can do. This is something like you go to the dentist and you have a toothache, so that tooth needs to be pulled. In order to do that, they give you a shot, they numb your mouth, everything's good, no pain, and you go out happy go lucky. However, in the birthing process, if you give an epidural, then that prevents the mother from being able to feel what needs to be done to her body, thus stopping the oxytocin that is needed for contractions to occur. If there are no contractions, then the baby won't know, hey, I need to get out of here. So with you starting one intervention, you will need another to counteract that, which is Pitocin, to facilitate the laboring process. Now, I have a friend of mine who had an epidural, and it did nothing for her, which means she still felt the pain of a natural birth. So now she has unnecessary medicine in her system. I have another friend of mine whose family member had an epidural, And 2 years later, she's on her deathbed because her anesthesiologist administered it wrong. So is it really worth putting your life as well as your baby's life in danger? I don't think so. So, what can we do to alleviate these potential risks with childbirth? I would say go for a natural birth. With a natural birth, a woman's body is already well equipped to facilitate that process. The farther along a mother is in the birthing process, the less they rely on thought and the more they rely on instinct. Judith Lofton is a author of an article of why natural childbirth is good. In this article, she asserted that pain felt during this time is beneficial to the mother. In another article, she also stated that with contractions, the mother can feel the movement, can facilitate her movement based off of the pain that she feels. Now, when she feels the pain and she starts moving, the baby then moves as well. And it begins to sit in the birth canal and eventually begins to push downward, thus starting the laboring process. Also, with the laboring process, naturally, we have our own endorphins. Endorphins are what make us feel good in a sense. Those are our happy feelings. With endorphins, they are considered to be the nature's pain reliever. So, it is also much more potent than morphine. With this, as the mother's pain increases, the number of endorphins created increases as well. In closing, mothers should trust their bodies when it comes to giving birth to children. I think we all can agree that one of woman's most accomplished moments is giving birth to their baby or babies. Using medication to facilitate this process can be harmful to the thought of this idea. The pain may be horrendous, but I want to leave you with this thought. Are a few hours of pain not worth a decreased chance of unnecessary or avoidable health issues for your child? I think that it is.